Hi guys, my name is Christine Weesey. I'm from Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. And Maryland, like the city that I'm at, is south of Annapolis and about 45 minutes from DC and Baltimore. That's a little fun fact. My major is human health services with a psychology minor. And I'm pretty much taking this class so I can start my path to human health services. Prior to this class, I was a nursing major, but it really just didn't fit with me, and so I changed my major. Um, I have taken a couple online classes, and some of the advice that I would say is pretty much just set time aside each day to make sure that you get the right amount of time just to complete all your activities and assignments. I really hope to contribute thoughtful and important statements to our class and really just for all of us to get the most that we possibly can out of this class. Um, Before I start talking about the person I'm going to reflect on, I guess, I'll just give you a little background. I am very interested, I think, in more of the substance abuse and that kind of helping others. So right now I'm doing an internship with, it's called CASA, which is Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse. And it's really just letting me get a feel for the prevention side, just like in our book on figure 1-1, it's like the community outreach. So I'm doing a lot of programs where I'm going out to high schools for people just coming in so we can talk to them about really what our problem in Calvert County. We've had a lot of problems with heroin abuse, and I know a lot of people that have died from heroin or from drugs and alcohol, and it's just really opened my eye, and I really want to help so no one has to feel really the heartbreak it is when their 17-year-old child doesn't get to walk across the stage a week before graduation. Like it's just awful things that I've been dealing with since probably for the past 10 years. Just it's been in my life. So that's just a little bit of the background, I guess. Um, so the person I'm going to reflect on is my cousin, and she's about 32 now, and she she has comorbidity, and so this term is pretty much someone who has two disorders. So her first disorder is she is a heroin addict, and her second disorder is she is ADD, like badly ADD, and she also heavily ADD, not badly, and she's also bipolar. So these occur mostly at the same time, and it's not because she's bipolar and has ADD that she is a heroin addict. It's just kind of both of these. She has a very addictive personality. She's awesome, and knowing her now, you'll never expect that she was ever a heroin addict. It just happened. She got in an accident, and just from the opiates that she was using, it kind of grew more and more from her car accident to really down a slippery slope. And that's what happens a lot, especially in my county. So she's been she's been clean for about 6 or 7 years. Her She went through a lot though. It was really hard throughout her life, just through middle school, elementary, middle, and high school. She always was at a private school, and she kind of just needed a little bit more of attention. But they didn't diagnose her until she was a senior in high school. She got into her accident, which was just, like I said, the slippery slope. So when she was on her heroin, there was one time she was in Baltimore City, and the police ended up being called, and for whatever reason or however she got it, but she was ended up in prison, and my aunt and uncle pretty much said that she was not allowed to, they were not going to come bail her out, and they weren't going to let anyone bail her out until she got her life straight. So, and she didn't want to be on drugs anymore. So she was in prison for, I think, 2 months, and then my family finally got her, and she went into a rehabilitation center. But before she did any of this, she had to talk to the judge. So she went to the judge for her sentencing, and she was sentenced 10 years in prison, or it was either 10 years or she could do go back to school and take 4 classes to get her bachelor's degree, and she could stay clean and she could do community service and she wouldn't have to do any of the sentencing. So she picked that route, and I guess 6 years down the line, she's doing amazing now. But she had to go through rehab for a couple months. I think it was 9 months or maybe 3 months of rehab, and then finished her classes. She graduated from Towson University, and she's been clean and sober. So right now she's married. She's living back in Baltimore City, but in a relatively nice area. She has a beautiful daughter, and she's married and doing really, really well for herself. She's holding a job, but if you ever ask her if she has had any hardship, she says yes and no, because she will always be an addict from this day forward. She will never say that she's not an addict. She says she's recovering, but once they have a saying that's once an addict, always an addict. And I think that I've talked to her about it a little bit, and she said she wouldn't change any of it because it's gotten her to where she is now, and she's finally happy with her life. She did have to meet with many caseworkers. They made the agreement, but she had to go through the legal aid, the criminal justice system, and mental health counseling. So she's doing all these counselings and on all these medicines for her being bipolar. And really, she's in a support group for herself that she goes to once a week, and then she's in another one that's twice a week that's for couples in Baltimore, so couples that are dealing with addicts. So they go as a couple, and they'll go to these counseling trips and make sure that everything's okay. But they do have problems, just like any other married couple, but it hasn't affected them. And she's really networked herself very well. I think that if you were talking to her, you would never realize that she was or is a heroin addict, and you would just think that she's a nice woman. She's a beautiful daughter and a great job. So it's really nice that she's gotten her life back on track. Well, that's a lot of information, but I can't wait to learn more about everyone.